Do it. Make your dreams come true. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Just do it.
I was told a true story. I was told a story of a Marine officer who was deployed, and they were eating with the group, and that officer made sure that his men ate first, as is the custom in the Marine Corps. And they ran out of food. The officer didn't get to eat. So when they went out back into the field, all of his men brought him some of their food so that he may eat. This is what happens. When we as leaders commit to the safety of our people will give us their blood, sweat, and tears, and they will make their own sacrifices to ensure that we are kept safe and to ensure that our visions are advanced. We cannot sit here with our arms folded and simply complain that our leadership doesn't look after us, that our leadership doesn't get it, that they would sooner sacrifice us to save the numbers and they would never sacrifice the numbers to save us, that they listen to Wall Street, they don't put people first, they claim they drive innovation, but they're not creating the environment that would create innovation. We cannot complain because we must be the leaders we wish we had. We have a person to the left of us and we have a person to the right of us that we can take responsibility for. Sure, you don't love your job, but do they? Are you committing yourself to ensuring that they feel happy, that they feel safe, that they have the job they love, that they feel like they're learning, that they feel they have opportunity? We have entire sections in the bookshop called self-help. We have no sections called help others. And yet the science is clear. Our own sense of happiness, our own sense of fulfillment, our health, and indeed the success of the organization itself are tied entirely to our willingness to serve those in our tribe, to look after those who we would call brother and sister, which we don't do in companies. We have colleagues. In the military, they have brothers and they have sisters. We don't always like our brothers and sisters, but my goodness, you threaten my brother or my sister and you got to deal with me. Thanks very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have time for questions. Yes, in the back.
It's a very interesting example you take with the Marines. Could you sort of throw some light on why?
Can you speak up?
Could you throw some light on why organizations like the armed forces, which have very low tolerance for challenging authority, have such great leaders, as opposed to corporations where there is a potential to challenge authority, yet the quality of leadership isn't as high?
So the question was, why is it that the military has great leaders where they have low tolerance for challenging authority, where in corporations where we have culture of challenging authority, we seem to lack good leaders, or there seems to be a dwindling number. When you talk about challenging authority, what are you talking about? You know, when we're talking about challenging conventional thoughts and conventional ideas, when we're talking about taking responsibility, in the military, and especially in the Marines, they're expected and they're taught to think for themselves. And the idea of hierarchy is very much geared to something they call commander's intent, right? In other words, the commander tells us what they need to achieve, but they will not meddle in how it will be achieved. The problem in our corporations is we're told what they want to achieve and how we're going to do it. And so the opportunity to challenge authority is obvious, is because you're giving us something to challenge. Whereas in a well-running unit, the commander will say, I need to take that hill. And it's for the lower level leadership to figure out how to take that hill. And then it's for the level of leadership beneath that to figure out, okay, this is how we're going to do our component of it. And so there's a lot of respect given to the layers of leadership. Here, not so much. By here, I mean corporations, not so much. And so it also goes to the concept of humility. The best definition of humility I ever heard was given by Bob Gaylor, the former Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. He said, do not confuse humility with meekness. Humility is being open to the ideas of others. And I love that. You know, you can have the biggest ego in the room. Being humble is not like, oh no, it's not me. You know, that's not humble. Humble is when somebody says, I got an idea, you go, let's hear it, and actually be willing to hear what they have to say. That's humility. And so great leaders have the humility that they may not have all the answers and they don't know how to get there. And it also goes to a question of priorities, right? Which is based on bonus structures. We are largely incentivized to grow a number within the year. That's how we get our incentives. And we're not incentivized to create something stable that will last 100 years. And so what you have is a lot of large, relatively unstable organizations. Well, that's what they wanted. That's what they got. We're fast growing. Awesome. It's good for the year, right? This is. We were just talking about this at lunch. This is the difference between. This is the folly of the stock market, right? Make sure this is on the camera. I'll make sure it's on the camera. I'll do it in the middle. Okay. This, if you look at like General Electric in the 80s and 90s, this is what their stock chart looks like. So if you were lucky enough to sell at the right time, you would have made, you know, I don't know, 1,800% on your money, you know, if you invested in the early 80s. This is not investing. This is gambling. This is investing. We invest in our children. We invest in education. Right? We invest in something that we don't see the result in a year. Gambling is about hope. I hope this works out. It's about betting. I bet on your new product. I bet on your new CEO. I bet on your reorg. I bet on your acquisition. I invested in you because I hope that that decision that you just made today, I bet it's going to work. Oh. Costco was criticized by Wall Street year after year after year by stupidly prioritizing employees and customers and ignoring the shareholder. If you had invested $1 in General Electric and $1 in Costco the day Costco went public, which was December of 1985, you would have, compared to today, you would have enjoyed a 600% return on your investment in General Electric. You would have enjoyed a 600% return on your investment in the S&P 500. And you would have enjoyed a 1,200% return on your investment in Costco. That's investing. If you were lucky enough to get out of GE at the right time, you would have made a little more. But that's not investing, that's gambling. I got no issue with it. I got no issue with gambling, and I got no issue with taking bets. Just call it like it is. We're betting versus we're investing. So if we're saying we're doing something for our shareholders, we don't have shareholders anymore, we have share squatters, right? Think about it. Just let's think about this for 1 second. We're going to take counsel from a disinterested outside party that when we do well, they'll invest in us anyway, and if we do badly, they're not loyal and they're not going to stick with us. I'll stop there. And the joke is, that's better for the shareholder. And it's stable. And it's innovative. And people love working there. And they look after each other. And they don't spend tons of money on churn because nobody quits. It's good. Forget about idealism. Forget about soapboxes. I'm talking business. I'm talking the free market. This is better for the free market. But I digress.